So the riders wending their way around the circuit through the Dell, an opportunity to take a quick look at the representatives in this one, and their respective classes as we go through will become clear as well, because as well as racing for outright positions here, we've got a clear scratch race going on. Obviously some of them are in separate classes to one another, so we'll try and keep an eye on that one as they go out as well. Jamie King and Ben Pascoe on the front row of the grid, and they are both in the same class, that's pretty clear. Jamie King, the winner, 2 out of 2 so far. Ben Pascoe was runner-up first time out in the opening race, then finished in 4th position, but that didn't affect him too much because ahead of him were 2 representatives of the Moto team category. So the front 2 on the grid have been 1 and 2 in the Pitbike 140 class in each of the opening 2 races so far. Behind them on the second row of the grid, Hudson Kenneth, 4th place first time out, 3rd position second time around, a podium finisher in class both times out. Fraser Kinnaird going off P4, he's dropped back in each of his races so far from that 4th position on the grid. Steve Ball in P5 enjoyed a good 3rd position finish first time out, disappointing though last time out after finishing 1st in class first time out. Will Howarth completes the 3rd row of the grid, a runner-up last time out. Watch for him because he certainly had plenty of pace in race number 2. He hasn't made the start though, he's dropped back 2 positions immediately off the line, and it's Jamie King who's once again made the start from P1. Ben Pascoe into 2nd position. Now in the opening race in this category, Ben Pascoe dropped back off the line and then had to recover 2 positions. This time around he's been released onto the tail of Jamie King, but the same happened last time out and he didn't have the pace to live with King. It's King from Pascoe out in front. Watching Hudson Kenneth come through in 3rd position at the moment by the looks of things as he battles back and leads in class, challenging on the tail of Ben Pascoe as they come through the Dell. And the front 3 have started to break clear. Jamie King in front, Ben Pascoe in 2nd, under some pressure here from Hudson Kenneth, who has worked his way up to 3rd position. We've also got a position change for P4, so it's all going on the opening lap. Jamie King's hit the front, Ben Pascoe in 2nd, Hudson Kenneth in 3rd place. Steve Ball, as I said, making that overtaking manoeuvre on Fraser Kinnaird going down into Raymond's. Ball, who had a good first race but disappointing in the second one, has now burst clear of Fraser Kinnaird, who's under some pressure from Sam Klaus further back down the order. King has broken clear, Pascoe under pressure from Kenneth. They're side by side coming down the Lancaster curve. And up front in top positions, Jamie King is bursting clear. Pascoe and Kenneth is the closest race on the circuit, but these 2 are in different classes. And Kenneth is the lead runner in the Moto team category, so he won't want to risk too much going after Ben Pascoe because he's got an advantage of over a second here to Steve Ball, his closest rival in class, who's then leading a group with Fraser Kinnaird and Sam Klaus behind. Jim Snow also in touch, and Will Howarth, to be fair as well. Positions 4 to 8 are nicely packed together. Positions 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and it's Will Howarth who's on the move. He's past Fraser Kinnaird, the number 96 bike. Will Howarth in 7th position now, and now that he's been released, he's not a fast starter. We've seen that in each of the 2 races so far here today, but once he builds up his momentum, he is more than capable of challenging. Speaking of challenging, Steve Ball is under some pressure here from Sam Klaus. Klaus, who dropped back slightly last lap around, but certainly isn't doing the same this lap. He's closing in. Jamie King over 2 seconds clear. His new fastest lap last time around, over a second faster than Ben Pascoe, who sits in 2nd, and Pascoe is having to fend off the attentions of Hudson Kenneth here as they come into Raymond's once again. Still Pascoe in front of Kenneth. Down the inside into Raymond, Sam Klaus makes the pass on Steve Ball as well, so that's a position change for 4th place. And Will Howarth has got the better of Jim Snow, so successive passes, 3 pairs all changing order as they went down into Raymond's, and it's Howarth who has made up another position now, passing Jim Snow. Can he go off after Steve Ball? At the moment there's a bit of a gap between himself and Ball, but Ball, who's already dropped in arrears of Sam Klaus. Well, the next target for Will Howarth is Steve Ball up ahead, winner in class first time out, who hasn't had the pace since then. In the scratch race, it's a battle for 2nd, but the real battle is in the Moto team class here with Sam Klaus and Steve Ball for 4th and 5th positions on track. That's positions 2 and 3 in class as Kenneth makes a big lunge down the inside of Ben Pascoe for 2nd. Pascoe repays the compliment I've already said that these two aren't in the same class, so although they're fighting in the scratch race, it's not going to make too much difference in terms of the Moto team category overall. We're looking for Sam Klaus and Steve Ball, who are still fighting it out over 4th and 5th positions. That's for second in class, incidentally. Sam Klaus with a new personal best last lap around. And Steve Ball a little bit slower on lap number 4, but seems to have made up for it on lap 5 so far. Jamie King, just to recap on the leader, is 5 seconds clear out in front. Hudson Kenneth still on the tail of Ben Pascoe. Sam Klaus in 4th position and Steve Ball in 5th. Let's see if Kenneth can make another move on Ben Pascoe down into Raymond's. The answer is no. He thinks better of it this time around. Pascoe seems to have the acceleration coming off Raymond's. Kenneth is faster going in. And Pascoe emerging slightly ahead this time around of Hudson Kenneth. Half a second the advantage as he came over the start-finish line. Kenneth didn't get the drive, as I said, out of Raymond's and over the start-finish line. King, Pascoe, Kenneth. Klaus still leading against Steve Ball in the race for 4th position. Remember, that 4th position is worth second in class as well, so that's a pretty important one in terms of the podium. Just a thought about the PB 140 category. Jim Snow at the moment occupies 3rd place in class, all the way down in 8th position on track, having been passed by Fraser Kinnaird last lap around on lap number 5. Here we go again for the race for second. Ben Pascoe holding back Hudson Kenneth, and quite clearly so, particularly going into Raymond's. Still Sam Klaus and Steve Ball battling over 4th position on track. Klaus still holds it, but that's the closest battle at the moment on the circuit. Ball looking for a way through. Klaus has the position. Less than 0.2 of a second between them as they came over the start-finish line last time around. 6 of the top 7 setting new personal bests on lap 6, so the pace is really picking up as we go on through the 3rd and final race in the PB 140 and Moto team categories. Led by Jamie King uncomfortably. Pascoe and Kenneth dicing for position, but not in the same class. Klaus and Ball fighting over second in Moto team, which is 4th on track. Coming down towards Raymond's. Once again, positions 2 and 3, Pascoe and Kenneth. About to come up to lap traffic here. You can see them working their way through as they come through the hook. And Pascoe's gone for the outside. That is going to become the inside down into the bomber straight, so he's made the right move, and Kenneth has been held at bay there by the back markers going down the inside into Surtees. He's made the move as well, but that's opened the gap out a little bit between positions 2 and 3 in terms of the scratch race. The battle's still on for 4th and 5th positions, and Will Howarth has joined the back of that train as well. He was faster than both Steve Ball and Sam Klaus last time out. This to decide the final 2 steps on the podium in Moto team here in race 3. That's 4th, 5th and 6th positions on track. Here they are all together in an absolute pack, passing lap traffic. Will Howarth has really made up huge chunks of ground on Klaus and Ball in front. At one stage they were a second clear. It's less than 0.3 of a second now as down the inside comes Steve Ball to pass Sam Klaus. Klaus repays the compliment coming off Raymond's. Who's going to be bravest into turn 1? The answer is that Steve Ball has once again reclaimed 4th position. That's for second in the Moto team category. But while these two are fighting one another, Will Howarth has gained ground on both, and he's going to try and make a move on Sam Klaus, who's already been relegated from 4th to 5th position. Is he going to lose out and end up in 6th place as they come onto the Lancaster curve? With Ball, Klaus and Howarth, that's the most important race at the moment for 2nd and 3rd positions in the Moto team category. 4th and 5th places on track. Again passing back markers, and that is really making a massive challenge for Steve Ball, who's held at bay, and Sam Klaus makes the pass, and the momentum is with Will Howarth down into Raymond's. Can he make a move? He can't, is the answer to that. He's not close enough to challenge, but the overtaking manoeuvre was made by Sam Klaus, taking advantage of Steve Ball being held back, coming off the Dell. And the lap traffic certainly is spicing things up. That's one of the repercussions of having a 16-rider mixed class grid. They're having to practice feeling their way through traffic. Ball almost getting that position back against Klaus. as they came down into Surtees, not quite, and that cut his momentum, and Will Howarth is again the man with the momentum. Still those three separated by less than a second. Clowes in fourth, Ball in fifth, Howarth in sixth position. Howarth dropping back a little bit visibly from the two up ahead, Clowes and Ball. As they come down onto Raymond's once again, this is the best passing opportunity. But Ball isn't close enough to make a move on Sam Clowes, who holds on. 2 laps remaining for the overtake if Steve Ball wants to get back into fourth position on track, which would be second position in class. Hudson Kenneth is well clear now of Sam Clowes behind, and they're almost 3 abreast. In fact, they are 3 abreast trying to come through. Side by side once again, further down the order. But the focus is on the battle for second in the Moto team category. Sam Clowes versus Steve Ball and Will Howarth. Jamie King leading the way on towards his final lap. Ben Pascoe 6 seconds in arrears. Hudson Kenneth 2 seconds further back than that. The race is for fourth and fifth positions on track, second and third in class. Jamie King is going to make it 3 wins out of 3. He's well clear. Just watching to see where things have managed to shake down, and Sam Clowes has dropped behind Will Howarth. So Howarth getting the better of Clowes. That's the race that we've been focusing on throughout for fourth, fifth and sixth positions. Behind them, there's a 7-second gap to the nearest Moto team rider. So at the moment, it's 3 riders tussling for the final 2 steps on the podium in Moto team. Jamie King looking comfortable, is going to make it 75 points out of a possible 75 this weekend, with a 3rd victory of the weekend in the PB 140 category. Ben Pascoe making up a bit of ground last lap around, but King has taken it easy in the closing stages. He was a second a lap faster in the early part of the race and wins for a 3rd time in the PB 140 category. Ben Pascoe over the line, only 3 seconds in arrears in the end, but it was much bigger than that, the deficit between the two for the majority of that race. Hudson Kenneth over the line for 3rd, Steve Ball in 4th and Will Howarth in 5th. And those 3 are the podium finishers in the Moto team category. Kenneth getting the better of Ball, despite Ball setting a personal best on the final lap. And, well, there was already a sizable gap between those 2 in the top 2 positions in Moto team. The race for the majority of that one was between Ball, Howarth and Clowes over 4th position on track, which of course was worth 2nd in the Moto team category. The front 3 in the race itself, the scratch classification, separating themselves out. So the race result, Jamie King taking the checkered flag, 3 seconds clear of Ben Pascoe. Those are the top 2 in the Pitbike 140 category. 3rd place in the Pitbike 140 was Jim Snow, who finished 8th on track, and then a clutch of Moto team riders all together on the circuit. Hudson Kenneth finishing 3rd in scratch, the winner in the Moto team class in the 3rd race. Steve Ball and Will Howarth involved in that entertaining scrap. Sam Clowes held 4th position for much of the race, but ended up 6th and drops off the podium in Moto team. So it's King, Pascoe, Kenneth, Ball, Howarth and Clowes, the top 6 in the PB 140 and Moto team mixed grid in race 3.
Coming up after the break, we're back with the juniors and the first of the Mini GP classes. It's Mini GP 50.